everyone. I am Mecha Random 42, your favorite YouTube Harpy. I wasn't necessarily going to make a video about this, but I really do have to weigh in on this whole new prank show that the Stranger Things star, the kid with the curly hair and the teeth thing, he was one of these. They're all good. All those actors and actresses are so good on Stranger Things, right? I'm a casual fan of the show. I don't like buy all the merch and stuff. I don't mind the show. It's a good show. Here's the thing though. So, but without reading the whole entire article here, the background of the story is this kid. His name is Gaten Matarazzo. I'm very dyslexic, so if it's a word I've never seen before or I'm like stumble over, I will mix it up. So if I mispronounce it, I apologize. He's got a new show where they take two people who are unemployed, give them part-time jobs, and then it turns into a nightmare. Right? It turns into a nightmare. I can't say this is a good idea. And here's the thing. I am so incredibly impressed that a 16-year-old kid has the business sense to get out there and be a producer and do something with his money other than just doing drugs and buying a shit ton of video games or whatever else. I'm sure he does buy video games and stuff, but you know how kids in my days, they would all end up so messed up, the kid actors anyway. God, back to like the Little Rascals and, of course the 50s sitcoms, even the 80s sitcoms. Kids who grew up on TV don't always turn out to be good business people. They don't always make the best decisions. This really comes, this seems a little more like just a kid who might not understand life yet. It doesn't seem to be such a huge deal. I'm gonna kind of defend it just a little. It's still a terrible idea. I really wish an adult would have kind of gone through and said, at least an adult who's not like a millennial adult, because that's what this seems to me. It seems to me like he ran it by a few people who are like 20 somethings, some millennials sort of, and I guess millennials are a little older than 20 somethings. Seems like he ran it by, I'm 40 saying this so I can say that. Seems like he ran it by a bunch of people who are like, yeah, that seems like a great idea. And this comes from, I think it's the same production team as the Undercover Boss series. But here's the thing, why the Undercover Boss series worked, and this one I find, in my opinion, to be a little cruel and mean-spirited, right? Because his prank show is all about screwing with people trying to find work. That's mean. That's just mean-spirited, because sometimes people really, really need jobs, and they don't. Sure, you're going to possibly compensate them very greatly for appearing on this television show, right? But at the same time, people in this day and age where people don't know where their next paycheck's coming from, if they food on their table, most people can't afford health insurance. So most of us can barely pay their taxes at the end of the year. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a cushion. They don't have a backup. And when they're out there desperately needing work, to give them this false hope is cruel, where a show like Undercover Boss would come in and the CEO, the rich corporate whatever guy would come in and he would talk to, or they would talk to and reward their lower level employees, sometimes with franchises, sometimes with college, sometimes they'll pay off their student loans so they don't have such a hard time. They rewarded these low level hardworking employees. That was hopeful and optimistic, and this really just seems cruel to me. This seems like, you take somebody who's looking for a job, they're out there, they want employment, and then they finally get something. And granted, yeah, it's a part-time job. So here's where I'm going to disagree with some people, because I've heard other people say, oh yes, they stop looking because now they've got a job and they've got all this opportunity. Here's the thing though, if it's just a part-time job, in this day and age, there are people who work 2 or 3 or 4 part-time jobs. And that is one of those things that I don't believe people are going to just say, oh yeah, I'm going to quit. I'm going to stop looking if I have a part-time job. That is something in my experience, being a very low-level employee on a lot of things. if you get a job part-time, you might work 2 or 3 at the same time until you find out which one you like better, until you find out which one's going to work with you better, pay better, be less stress, be less, be easier to get to. It might be closer to where you live. So I'm going to disagree with people like the quartering who say, yes, you stop looking. You want to, you're going to tell your friends and family to stop asking around about jobs. I kind of disagree there, because if you are just settling and getting hired at a part-time job, I think the majority of the people would not stop looking immediately, so it's not going to screw them that much. At the same time, though, it does seem a little mean-spirited. It comes across as somebody who just doesn't have the life experience yet to kind of understand that. I don't think he intended this as a mean jerk prank show. I kind of assume, but having been 16 myself, I kind of think, oh, that might be funny. Like, take that, but just say, oh, no, it's not. It's going to be a nightmare. Take this job and it'll be a nightmare. Because, yeah, if you're a kid, that does seem kind of funny. Kids have different humor than adults, because adults have different things, to compare to. They have different life experiences. So of course this Beth McCall person, she says, I was just saying I'd love to watch a rich child humiliate economically insecure adults. I can't wait. Imagine a famous child jumping in and telling you that no, you will not be getting healthcare anytime soon, but yes, you might be on TV maybe. Who gets healthcare on part-time jobs, Beth? Seriously, Beth. Who are you? Who is Beth McCall, and why do I care what she has to say? She is an activist, of course, or active advice columnist. Why is the first thing I read activist? Advice columnist, writer, billionaire, liar, can't read and won't learn. My book, How to Come Alive Again, is out now, blah, blah, blah. She's in London. All right. If you really think that you're going to get healthcare in a part-time job, then maybe you also need a couple more years on you, sweetie. You're not going to get healthcare in a part-time job. You're going to make minimum wage, and they're going to want you to have open availability so that you can, come in at like closing one night and then open up the next day without having an 8-hour turnaround to like go home and relax and sleep or anything. You're going to be scheduled whenever you can be, and if you have to work another job, they're not going to work with you because they want you to be openly available for them. And let's say if you work retail, you're not going to be able to work 2 different retail jobs because they don't want you to compete with each other because they all sell the same shit, right? That is kind of where I'm disagreeing with a lot of these people, but I do still see this as possibly not the best idea for a prank show. I would much rather see something like, hey, surprise, we pranked you about some, about anything else, and that's why something like Undercover Boss works a little better, because they're pranking people with great rewards. They're pranking people who really, really go out of their way to either take care of their family, or they're struggling because student loans, or they're really doing what they can to bust their butts. And because that's how Undercover Boss works, right? They have people, they're like, I want to nominate this employee to be shot, because they're all handpicked. It's not like, the boss doesn't just show up in his disguise and just happen to find the one person who has like a mountain of student loans, who's taking care of sick parents or whatever that they're doing. No, they know who they're going to be. It's kind of like a game show. They know who they're going to be giving, the keys to the chocolate factory to at the end of the day. But it's a lot less mean-spirited than this. I don't see this as anything other than, I think he's just young and might have needed to run it by somebody with a little more life experience first, but hey, good on him for being a producer. What do you guys think? Do you think this is like super mean-spirited? Do you think this is okay? Would you watch this even? Do you want to watch me watch it or review it? I am Mecha Random 42, and I will see you guys on the next video, live stream on Midnight's Edge After Dark, Creepy Little Book, Star Trek Las Vegas, or wherever. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!